Ladies and gents, welcome back to AusGamers on this beautiful sunny day in Sydney. I've got Rob Jones, who is gameplay director on NBA 2K. He's out here showing us the Wii U version, which, you know, it might not seem like something super special. Lots of games come out all the time on different consoles, but given the Wii U's got this unique controller feature, and, you know, it's kind of exciting at the moment, you know, the guys at NBA 2K kind of took that upon themselves to create, you know, the core experience is what we talked about before. The core experience is still there, but there's some pretty unique features. So, I mean, let's talk about, you mentioned that you kind of had to rein it in a little bit because you weren't really sure 100% what the hardware was capable of, what the feature set was going to be able to offer you guys. So when you're sitting down in that room and you're making those decisions, kind of how does that actually manifest?
You know, you're sitting there and you know that you only have a certain amount of time and resource to kind of get your full game on over. Because that's what you're looking to deliver. You're looking to deliver that full core experience to the user. And then, you know, you get that controller in hand and you start, I mean, everybody starts fantasizing, I can do this, I can do that. I mean, my first thoughts were, you know, I started thinking of touch games, you know, being able to control my guys just by moving them around. And that changes that core interaction experience between the user and the game as he knows it. Now, can it improve it? Possibly, but we've also seen that it's been tried before. It's been tried on Wii games. It's been tried on PlayStation Move games and things like that. And so if you're not going to do it well, you're not going to do it 100%, you're not going to start your project with, this is how that user is going to interact with the Wii U version of the game, and you can't do that when you're busy just getting it onto the Wii U, it's kind of impossible to give it the attention that it deserves. So what we decided to do was to use the Wii U gamepad controller to really offer an entry-level way of using features that the advanced user by now has mastered, and he uses it every day to beat on kind of the casual player. And as that user starts getting adjusted and starts seeing that these little options that are now quickly available to your touch, strategical options are available to your touch, it will make him understand and also want to learn and delve a little bit deeper into the core of the basketball simulation that NBA 2K is.
You also mentioned that you'd found through reviews that some players felt the game was a bit dense. It was a bit hard to kind of find even things like tutorials. Obviously, with the Wii U version, you've got this opportunity to kind of broach that and create sort of a more seamless entry level. And we mentioned this before as well. There's going to be a lot of people playing this game for the first time because they're going to go out and buy a Wii U. For you guys to differentiate that core experience, that familiar experience, but to also, you know, create something new, like how do you approach that?
Well, you have to start realizing, you know, every time we put something new into the game, we also have metrics to see how many people are using it. And so one of the things that we always talk about is, hey, you know, this is really, really cool, but how do you surface it to the user? So, you know, as I was showing you earlier, it's like you come down and you suddenly, you know, a common person sees that Steve Nash is not supposed to be checking, you know, let's say Dwight Howard. I know they're on the same team right now, but, you know, from a size standpoint, Steve Nash or Chris Paul should not be behind Dwight Howard. And now you see that and you're like, hey, I should post him up, or I should get him the ball in an advantageous position. The casual user doesn't know how to do that. Yeah. I mean, he can delve deeply into the play system, or, you know, he can hit a couple of buttons, but it's like 3-4 buttons in to get a function that should quickly be there for you. And the gamepad controller just allows us to do it. I mean, it's pretty much just you see that advantage, and you're like, hey, I want a quick post-up, and it's listed there. You touch it, and they're doing it. And it's efficient. There's no motion wasted there. Yeah. So just little things like that, sprinkling of information. You saw on the My Career screen how we're really trying to give you back a lot of information as to what you're doing, how you're doing it well, what your goals should be. Because I think we're sending people out into a great game, but we're telling them, hey, you know what? It's like Grand Theft Auto. Just run out there, go willy-nilly, kind of figure it out on your own. Yeah. And it's not a game that lends itself to that, is the way I feel about it.
It must have been exciting for you guys to finally be able to create like I guess a game that looks as good on, PS3 or Xbox 360 on a Nintendo console. Finally, HD, like finally.
Well, yeah, it's been a long time coming. I mean, we've always wanted to give that Nintendo user the same exact graphical experience that he's getting, and the Wii U is actually, when you really think about it, it's pushing more than those, the aforementioned consoles.
There's two screens.
There's two screens. You got one screen that's giving the same quality that the PlayStation 3 and the 360, and it's still pushing a second screen at 480p. It's smaller, but you have the same experience in both places. So, but for us, from a standpoint of quality of graphics, quality of animation, and responsiveness and feel, I mean, we're really finally, we're really excited about that this year.
How important do you guys think it is? Because it seems in a lot of the interviews that I do with a lot of different developers, there's either the console, the platform parity word, which is everything needs to be the same across the board, or there's, you mentioned this before, if it's a 2K product, then people expect it to have that differentiator, that thing that drives it that little bit further, no matter what platform you're on. Do you think it's important that the console manufacturers are pushing different peripherals the way they are? Like the Wii U controller, you've got Kinect, and however that's going to be integrated into the next Xbox, and what PS4 is going to do with Move and all those types of things. For you guys, is it problematic that there's 3 platforms with pretty different kind of SKUs, or is it good? Is it challenging?
No, it's a great challenge. What we can't lose track of though is that we've built a massive following by delivering a specific type of experience, and we can't change that experience drastically just in order to support the new peripheral. And and in the past we've tried to really push the envelope with a new style of gameplay, but the numbers come back and show you that the user just wants an extension and an enhancement of what they're already doing, and not a revolution because of a new controller. So, you take, for example, the moment we saw Kinect, we're like, am I going to dribble in my living room? Yeah. And that ultimately you sit there and it's like, no, most people aren't going to want to do that. And so you don't use it for that. You use it for what it makes most sense for in the game. In our game this year, it's for doing quick commands like calling plays or calling substitutions. Just quick changes of strategy, stuff like that, But we made the Kinect fit our game. We didn't make our game fit the Kinect.
Did you guys have much problem once you got the final hardware for Wii U taking the experience that you'd built from a technical level to port it across and then build upon it?
No, I think that Nintendo had been pretty good in letting us know what to truly expect, and I think that they made it pretty simple in terms of their architecture to make us be able to quickly get the core game up and running. Of course, there's different ways. The online architecture might be a little bit different. The way it's pushing its graphics is a little bit different. But we have a really talented group of people up at VC, and they kind of handle those problems pretty well usually.
Yeah. All right, we'll wrap it up with one more. Playoffs this year. Who do you think?
I am going to go out on a limb and say that I think the Clippers are actually going to be in the West Finals. And depending on how well Derrick Rose comes back, maybe the Bulls. The only problem is, I think that the Heat are going to gel by the end of the season again. Yeah. And once they start gelling, it's a pretty tough combination of players to beat.
All right, no worries. Well, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for your time today, Robert.
Thank you.
Cheers.